the home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. My impression of Deion Sanders' press conference. Me, be me, I'm coming, me, I'm not swag. Who's swag? I'm not swag. Well, hell, we know you're not swag, Deion. We know exactly who you are. As Dennis Green once said, you are who I thought you were. Let's talk about it. How's it going out there today, boys and girls in sporting land? This is the OCF. That's the Outlaw of College Football. That's me, JPC. Also, I'm on Twitter at OCF Productions. Now, getting right to it. I hate to give Deion Sanders my attention in 2 videos in a row, but I just couldn't resist that illustrious, over-the-top press conference that says it all. That says it all as to why Deion Sanders will be out of college football in 2 or 3 years. And it won't be because he's going to get a better job in the NFL or anything like that. As one of my loyal listeners, George Contupis, likes for me to say, he'll more than likely be coaching those Nagasaki egg rolls in the Japanese American Football League. Most likely as the mascot. He probably won't be an on-the-field coach. He'll just be the mascot. He'll be like a walking egg roll or a jackass or whatever it is they decide to put on him. Because Deion, at his press conference, basically has deep sixed his ass out of the gate, in my opinion. You see, Deion was basically saying that all these Colorado players suck and that they need to move on, possibly enter the transfer portal so he can bring his crew in. Well, I got a news flash for you, Deion. Those Jackson State players, while they were pretty good players, some of them, the 4 and 5 stars that you lured in with false bravado and promises, but these guys are used to playing against Mississippi Valley State, Grambling, Southern University, against players that are not good enough to play for the Ohio States and Alabamas of the world. Meanwhile, you got players that were good enough to play on some of these teams, and you're beating up on teams that don't even participate in the 1AA playoffs. The HBCUs are like the black version of the Ivy League. And all you did, man, was create something, and I've already went over this, man. You basically lied to the HBCU schools, claimed you was going to lift them up, had your little famous speech of, if I'm not SWAC, who's SWAC? You answered the question yourself, man. You dipped out after 2 years. 2 years and you're gone. How's that lifting anything up? You're just a big-ass liar, man. You're a con man. And now you're in Colorado. That's a good place for you. Because Colorado and its woke-ass policies and all the crazy stuff that they adhere to, you fit right in there. The only problem is not even woke-ass Colorado is going to put up with you continuing the trend of 1-11 seasons, which is what I think is going to happen, especially after what you said in the press conference. You're talking about your son and 10 other players coming to from Jackson State to Colorado before the transfer portal was ever open. That's an NCAA violation. Now, whether the NCAA enforce it, because they're very inconsistent and pretty much jackasses themselves, because if they think that Deion Sanders is good for their pocketbook, they won't mess with him. That's just the way they are. That's the same thing they did with Cam Newton. Pushed him through real quick. Usually they drag their feet for years and years to find out whether they're going to put somebody on probation. But if it's something that's going to affect them monetarily in the short term, they'll push that shit through. And with Deion Sanders, he violated, I think, what I would consider tampering policies. Now, whether the NCAA actually has any tampering policies in place, I'm not real privy to that. But I'm sure there's some kind of rule about talking about luring players into the portal before they're ever in the portal. That'd be like Lincoln Riley coming out and saying, hey, Caleb Williams is coming to USC with me as soon as he took the job at USC and the transfer portal was never open. You know, at least Lincoln Riley was smart enough to tell Caleb Williams to, shh, y'all don't say anything. But when the transfer portal comes open, I want y'all to jump in there, and then I'm going to recruit you. Wink, wink. And there's nothing you can do about it. But if you come out and you blatantly tell everybody that you're going to do that, and then going to say, this is my quarterback, you're basically hurting your son, man. You're basically telling everybody that your son has the job without even competing, that he's not good enough to win on his own. He has to be declared the starter day one by his father in a nepotistic type way. Mr. Nepotism. Deion Sanders. Now con time, now nepotism. I just don't get it, man. It aggravates the hell out of me at how some of you are out there propping this guy up and talking about, oh, you're being too hard on Deion. If he was offered $5 million, you'd go too. Yeah, I would, because I've never made that much money. But this guy supposedly has all this money. He's a celebrity. He wants to be called Coach Prime, which is another dumbass thing. What athletic director would really give a man a jersey that says Coach Prime on it? I mean, does that not sound like some kind of caricature or some kind of bad cartoon character off the Care Bears or South Park or something? It sounds like he's the coach of South Park High School or something. And another thing, Deion, that you may not realize, these players that you're talking shit to, and you're not coming there like Bear Bryant and the Junction Boys, talking shit to some people and running them off and them not being able to leave because you have a 1-year set out rule in place. That's not in place no more, man. Players don't have to sit out no more. So that bluff that you're throwing, it might just screw the hell out of you. Because if I was those players, I would just go ahead and transfer them. Since you're already saying they suck. If you think you can bring your entire Jackson State squad with you and compete, even in the sorry-ass Pac-12, you're mistaken. You're going to get your ass handed to you. These players are going to all just up and leave on you, man. You know, it's going to be worse than the Oklahoma situation where they had like 40 players gutted out of them, but at least they had decent players still on the team. Colorado don't have decent players on their team. They're 1-11 for a reason. And you're going to make, what, decent players that are there maybe possibly leave? Yeah. You're screwing yourself, man. And I thought this might take a year or two for it to come to fruition before I could say, hey, I told you so. But out of the gate, man, you've pretty much stuck an enema straight up your ass and screwed yourself. Because that's the only thing that comes out of your mouth half the time, man. It's a bunch of shit. Just like an enema. Just like when you stick an enema up your ass, a bunch of shit comes out. That's you, man. You're an enema. So I'm going to start calling you Con Time. I like Con Time. But I might just start calling you Coach Enema. How about that? Like that for a name? Why don't you call yourself Coach Sanders, man? You want to be respected as a real head coach? You talk about, hey, I want people to call me coach. I want respect. Well, then portray yourself as a head coach and not some kind of cartoon character or some kind of bowel movement. And that's all I got to say about that. You guys and gals, what you think about all this? Drop it in the comment section. Also, there's a heart down here. If you don't mind, hit that. Throw me a few dollars in the coffers. Get me off this YouTube teat. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.